those of us who've been through many storms before, we're always afraid of that little last-minute wobble.
Yeah.
It changes everything.
And that's why we got to watch it like a hawk, right? To make sure that right now everything's staying on track, and we'll just make sure that it continues to do so. You know, what's good news for us is bad news for somebody else, and that's what we kind of have to consider. Someone is going to get hit really, really bad by this storm. We are confident it's not going to be here in terms of direct landfall. But those impacts are far-reaching from the center of the storm, as we know, and I think storm surge for us is going to be a big issue. Power outages are going to be an issue, and we got to watch out for some severe weather too.
Like a tornado, right?
Absolutely.
Possible,
we do expect at least several tornado warnings, and it could be in kind of the, you know, late night, you know, overnight hour. So we just got to be ready. I know it's a disruption. It's to our week. It's a big inconvenience. We
don't want to build anxiety.
We don't.
We want to be calm.
We want to take a deep breath.
We've done this.
Yeah.
We can do it again.
You think clearer that way too.
Yes, absolutely.
So folks still have some time to kind of get those preps, you know, in order. I think you got through probably about sunset tonight. So if you still got to get those last minute things, stock up on that hurricane kit, run to the store, you know, take out some of those lawn furnitures and secure it, all those types of things. You still have hours to do that. Things are looking pretty good right now. Got 87 for you out there, Brookdale Bayshore camera. Winds are starting to pick up, but it's nothing dangerous right now. Now, we don't expect water to be sucked out of the bay in this particular situation, but surge into Bayshore and some of those low-lying areas is going to be a concern we're watching, especially during the tide times, high tide times. All right, to Sky Tower we go, where the storm itself is still hundreds of miles away, but you're starting to see some of those outer bands and those showers that are bumping in on shore, Cape Coral to Port Charlotte. Eventually, if you live in Sarasota County, into Manatee, you're going to start to feel some of this. And it's going to be progressive, right? You get a wave here, another wave of rain, and it'll kind of get heavier with squally weather and gusts throughout the day today, and you'll really start to, I think, see conditions deteriorating by the time we get to the later evening hours here tonight. So right now, you see the winds, for the most part, are light. Occasionally, you've got some gustier breezes in there in the double digits, but so far, so good. Now, here's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a strengthening Cat 1 hurricane. You look at the visible satellite, and it's starting to come into its own. We don't have necessarily an eye and an eye wall that you can really visibly see, but we expect that to happen. You look closely, you're starting to see the difference in texture around the center. Those are the thunderstorms around the storm. You look at the bigger picture, almost starting to get real into that symmetrical, that buzzsaw look. Right now, the winds, the tropical storm force winds, extend out 160 miles, so away from the storm. So, yeah, we're going to feel it. We're going to feel the winds. We expect tropical storm force winds to be common, especially along the coast with the winds diminishing inland. Here is the latest as of the 11 o'clock update. So we got a storm that has maximum winds at 85 miles per hour, and that's measured when those hurricane hunters fly into the storm. Movement is north at 14, but it's expected to continue to accelerate. We go from 1, 2 to 3 in a matter of hours before this makes landfall in the Big Bend as a strengthening storm. For us, that puts us on the side where we're going to feel the effects of the onshore push of winds, the storm surge. One of the reasons we expect this to intensify fast, those water temperatures in that zone where the storm is right now are exceptionally warm, 85 plus miles per hour. Excuse me, that's not going to bode well for this storm in terms of really getting going. So now the hurricane force winds themselves, we expect to mostly be offshore. The exception might be closer to the landfall spot, closer to the Big Bend and up across the Nature Coast. But either which way, you talk about a strengthening storm that's gaining momentum and gaining speed. So you can imagine how that's going to lead to some high water along the coast. Just like a fast-moving boat churns higher and significant waves, a fast-moving hurricane is going to really get those waves going. And 4 to 7 still looks to be the number we expect along Tampa Bay with higher heights to the north. And you can look at this as like a reasonable worst-case scenario, but during times of high tide, it's certainly a possibility. These are the times, they haven't changed. We've been showing them to you. There'll be a time just after about 2, 3 o'clock in the middle of the night for some of you And then again, yes, tomorrow afternoon, as those winds really come on shore. So we'll have to be mindful of that with this storm as the storm continues to pull away. So this is why hurricane evacuations are issued. I know it's a difficult thing, but we have to heed those because we're dealing with a hurricane here that's going to be strengthening off our coast. You see the future cast there, the time on your screen, midnight, the storm just off to our west, and that's why I think we see a few nocturnal tornadoes and the storm pulling away, making landfall probably tomorrow morning with bouts of rain. And that's when the winds really turn on shore for us, and we expect the highest storm surge threat. There will be other threats associated with it. We're going to talk about in the next half hour, things like power outages, severe storms, all those types of things. But the bottom line is we expect conditions to go downhill late tonight through the overnight hours, improving gradually tomorrow afternoon and evening. There'll still be some strong winds, but at least the storm should start to exit the state. We'll have much more news and weather right after the break. Stick with us.